To your marks.
Which line? Let's get straight into it. Race 4 of the Gloucester Cross Country League is go. You join us here in Cheltenham at Pittville Park, as I say, for the 4th race of the league and the final race on a glorious day. Look at that, blue skies, sunshine, and 150 happy runners all hitting the trails of Cheltenham. We've done 4 races, like I've said, so we have previously run in Cirencester, Stroud, Bath at the 4 counties race, and the whole season comes to a climax here. So there's lots of people racing, trying to jostle for positions, for teams, for individuals, age categories, all sorts of stuff. Personally, myself, going into the race, I'm lying second in the Vet 45 category for the season. I've just got to try and get a good result here, and I should definitely get in the top 3. There is another guy who's faster than me, and he's possibly going to get some points that will put him above me in the league. So we'll just have to see how today goes. But really hoping to get something out of the season after getting to all the races. The races in Stroud and Cirencester I scored quite well in. The 4 counties at Bath, because there's a lot more runners there and a lot more inter-county racing, I went down to 7th in the age category, but the other races I finished in 3rd in my age category. So really hoping to get something out at the end of this season. The race today, I cannot believe how good the conditions were. You can see on the grass here, nice and firm, not too churned up. What I'll do in a moment is I'll put a side-by-side comparison to last year's course, and you can see just how muddy it is last year compared to this year. I was so expecting a mud bath with all the rain. It's rained every day this year so far, so I think we were so lucky. You'll see as we come around this corner, on the top is today, lovely, look, there's a new path we're going across, green grass all the way. Last year at the bottom is just sloppy mud all the way, people trying to run at the sides because it's firmer. And I remember trying to do a sprint finish along here last year, and you're trying to move your feet as fast as you can, but they're just kind of running in quicksand and not going anywhere. So again, perfect conditions, absolutely lovely. So this is coming around to the start of the 3 full laps that we're doing. So the route is 1 small little loop as a start. You'll see over to the left-hand side the fluorescent finishing tape of the finish straight, and now we're into 3 loops of the park. So it starts off with around the top of some fields that you see us up at the moment. We go around some football fields at the far end. Then we've got a river crossing that we'll get to, and we'll show you that when we go through the river crossing, and then it's some more sloppy fields on the other side that will a bit wetter than this, and then we're back to the start finish for 1 lap. Each lap is about 3 kilometers long. In total, the race is 9.2 kilometers, whereas last year it was 9.7. So they've managed to shave 500 meters off of the race as well this year. I think that was done at the far field up on the top here, where I think we cut off a big chunk of corner compared to the previous year. As the senior men, we are always the last to go on these Gloucester cross country courses. We've had all the junior races first, and then just before us, I'll show you the start of the ladies and some of the younger male and female age categories, plus some of the super vets, so the 65 and 70-year-old plus men, all racing together. They were in the race before us. Here's their start. Here we are back with the senior men's race. So we're going along the top. This is the highest point along this stretch of the course. You can see the stream and the lake down on our right-hand side. But I'll fast forward a little bit through here. This is just really a bit of going around the edge of some fields. As you can see, most of the route is fairly straightforward, fairly flat underfoot. But this section here was a little bit tricky. We had a steepish downhill, a couple of little muddy corners, and then that led us on to a bit of an up and down muddy section through some trees. not the most technical thing, but it was a bit of a break up from the rest of the course. This bit was kind of unique. It was one of the few parts of the course that had actually built up any kind of mud. And then as we were coming down here, there was almost like a little ridge that we had to go around. I think this is an old golf course, so there's some old golf greens and tee-off boxes. So there's a little ridge you can see here that we're having to go around. And then we're kind of back towards the starty finish area. And then we've got about 100, 200 metres where we're running along here before we hit into the water. You can see everybody in front just taking this left turn now. Crowd's starting to build up as we go around this corner you'll see around the river crossing. I'll be wholly honest, I'm not the most comfortable jumping into the river crossing. I'm in a marathon training block, I don't want to twist my ankle doing something silly like this. But it's all a bit of fun. Everyone's got their long spikes on because of the ground, so going over this bit of tarmac isn't ideal. Big crunch on the spikes there. The guy on my left is absolutely flying through. I'm a little bit more reserved in my approach, I think we'll call it. Nice to see all the people out spectating at the river crossing. Then you get a nice steep little climb back up the other side, and then we're on to the second half of the course. So this is around the football fields, and you'll see coming through the conditions here. This was a bit muddier, a bit boggier. You see underfoot here a little bit sloppy. And there's a couple of these little ridges that we're running along, cheeky little ridges. So it keeps us off the main footpaths. And there's a few of these around that we're kind of balancing on as we go around this bit of course. But there are a couple of little tarmac crossings. So just at the end of this little straight here, we go across that footpath that's on our left-hand side. So again, not a great one for your spikes. And then I'd say the worst bit, the muddiest bit of the course was probably this bit we're just coming up to now. Again, it's really not as bad as some years, but it's the only bit with, like you saw there, some significant standing water. And it did get a bit squelchy underfoot there. But then once we're back up on this ridge again, absolutely no concerns. And then we're just back to these little mounds that we're running on. While we go through this bit of the course, I just want to say a massive thank you again to all the volunteers who put these races on. Without the volunteers, we would have no racing in the Gloucester Cross Country League. So to all the marshals who stand out there, to all the guys who set it up, to all the people who are out there doing the post-race, the results, all the organising, massive thank you. You put on fantastic races, and I've really enjoyed doing them over the last couple of years. Now, I always found this one of the strangest little bits of the course. We go around a little playground, and then there's a horrible steep little 2 or 3 steps to go quite steep up to this little bank. And we are literally balancing along this little ridge between some trees. And you'll see in a moment, it just drops off down to the right. It wasn't too bad this year, but I remember last year it was so muddy and almost slipping down that bank on the right-hand side. But it did seem like a really strange place to race. But then we go down the slope the other side, and you can just let yourself go down this one, and then we're back on predominantly the main straight back to the start finish area. So this bit goes on for about 300-400 meters, just a gradual climb back up, and then we join up at the start finish straight.
A few moments later.
Now, unfortunately, my camera cut out about 2 minutes before the finish. So at 37 minutes, my camera cut out and I finished at about 39 minutes. So I haven't got the last 2 minutes of footage of the race. But in the end, I think I finished 59th position and third in my age category, which meant that looking at the results at the end of the race, that I was third overall in the Vet 45 category, which I'm over the moon with. It's good success for the season. I'm very happy. We can see my time this year compared to last year where the mud was, and you can see I'm running almost 20 seconds a kilometre quicker. And that's not necessarily because I'm any fitter, I just think the conditions were a lot more user-friendly today. So massive well done to everybody who raced, either today or for the whole season. I know as well my club Team Bath, we've also won some of the team prizes in the seniors and the veteran prizes. So as a club and as an individual, we've had a fantastic season. Well done to everybody else who's taken part. Hopefully I shall see you all again November time where we start the next league season. So for me, Gary McAllister, at the end of the Gloucester cross country season 25-26, thank you for joining me. I've enjoyed making these videos and hopefully I will see you all again soon.